A very good morning. Welcome back, students. Today's class we shall discuss regarding the roles of HR executive. So this is the last topic that we have got in Unit 1. So with this particular topic, we'll be completing the first unit in our syllabus. Okay. So today's topic is roles of HR executive. So now the HR roles or the role of a HR are the roles that are HR does in an organization. They're defined by a person called David Ulrich. David Ulrich happened to define the HR roles or the roles that are being performed by the HR executives, and in fact he has given a model, and today it's very popularly called in the HR circles. Now this particular model is very popularly called as David Ulrich HR roles or David Ulrich HR model. Now this is what Mr. David Ulrich has said. He happens to take 4 parameters, and they are strategic focus, people, day-to-day operations, processes. By taking these 4 things into consideration, he happened to define the roles of an HR executive. So he came up with 4 HR roles. Okay, moving in the clockwise direction. Strategic partner, that's the first role that is being performed. The second one, change agent. The third one, employee champion. And the fourth one, administrative expert. So these are the 4 roles that an HR performs in today's organization. It can be a multinational company or it can be a national company, irrespective of the organization that we are employed in. In all the organization, wherever they have a HR department, now the HR in those organizations, they perform primarily these 4 roles. Now let us look at each of these roles in detail. So the first role that a HR performs is strategic partner. Right, now what do you mean by strategic partner? So before we get on with that, I just wanted to remind you, for a very long time HR has been given a stepchild treatment. HR was treated as a foster child in the organization. Right, since beginning, marketing function, finance function, and other functions that we have got, production operations. Now all these particular functions have been owned by the management as their children. They had been as like a biological children for the organization, right? And it somehow the HR did not fit into that, so they started treating HR very separately. And say for example, in case of board meetings, they would call the general manager of marketing and sales, general manager of operations, general manager of accounts, and so on and so forth, but invitation was never sent to HR. And in fact, in the HR department, we do not have a designation called GM of HR. Right, similarly, today in the multinational organizations, this general manager role or the designation called general manager has been replaced by chief executives. So we have chief accounts officer, chief marketing officer, chief financial officer, chief operations officer. You will never come across chief human resource officer. No, the designation is not there. And in place of this particular designation, the highest designation that we generally have in organizations is like HR director. HR director is the highest designation we generally have, right? So that itself tells that HR was always treated as a foster child, and it was not treated as a biological child. So there was this particular prejudices towards HR from the remaining departments, and prejudices from the management also. Right, so HR in fact was like sandwich. It was not given its due importance. But things started changing in the 21st century. Ever since globalization started, and ever since we started having internet economies, now things started taking a turn. Today, to start a new organization in whatever startup companies that we have, right? So the new age organizations that are coming in now, organizations are not driven by the raw material, they are not driven by machines, they are not driven by money, right? In fact, even without having a single coin in your pocket, you can identify, you can search, and then you can hunt an angel investor or an venture capitalist, convince him, and then sponsor or fund your project. So it's not, they are not driven by money also. Then what are they driven? They are driven by manpower. So today if you go take your business plan, sit across with an angel investor like Azim Premji or Ratan Tata, the first and foremost thing that they are going to ask is like what machinery you are using or what raw material you are using. They are not going to those particular details. The first thing they will be asking is who are the people on board, who are the key people, who is your COO, or who is this particular person, who is that particular general manager, who, from where are you going to source this particular. This is where they are interested. So organizations today are people driven. In the 21st century, in the new era, today we have people driven organizations. So in this particular age of people driven organization, HR takes a very prominent role, and that's where we are elevated to the position of being a strategic partner of an organization. So organization today, suddenly the entire shift, there's an entire shift, right? In fact, it's an phenomenal shift from being a foster child to being the caretaker, to being a person of utmost importance. Right, so that's what is this role that we are talking about as a strategic partner. It's about aligning our HR activities and initiatives with global business strategy. Because today we are living in a globalized world, we are living in an MNC culture, so we need a function which can align people with the business strategy, and that particular function can be performed by HR alone, and HR performs that particular function as a strategic partner. Next is our change agent. Right, today everything is static, everything is dynamic, and things are changing at a faster pace. Right, in my entire school days we were using floppy disk, and then when I came to my college education, compact discs were introduced, CD, and then DVDs came, right, and then pen drives came. Okay, after this particular DVDs, after DVDs we had Blu-ray disc. After Blu-ray disc, we this particular pen drive. Many people do not even know that there was a new invention called as a Blu-ray disc. See, technological changes are very at one time, for the next technology to come, it used to take 1 decade, and then they said it, and then it came down to 8 years, 5 years. Today it is taking a year's time, or 1 or 2 years time, and in certain cases, months time. So changes are very rapid. They are no longer snail paced changes. Now changes are taking place at a rapid rate. In such a world where we live in, where we find the markets changing, we find the business practices changing, we need a person in organization, we need a department in organization who can manage the change, and that particular department which can manage the change is the HR. So that's the reason HR plays this particular key role as a change agent. Right, so that's what HR does. He brings about these particular changes, and he looks after this transition or looks after this particular transformation. So change agent is all about supporting the change, supporting the transition of the business in the area of the human capital. Okay, that's what you do as a changer, because every employee is always reluctant towards change. People don't want changes to happen. They always want to be like lazy, they always wanted to be like lethargic, because doing the same job again and again you become an expert, and you do not want to lose that expertise. Change brings in a new concept, and since we have this particular xenophobia, we are always reluctant. You have that particular fear in the new technological age or in the new thing that is coming in. I may not be able to perform well. What if I am not able to match those particular standards? You have this particular fear, and that's the reason they're reluctant towards this particular change. But HR helps an organization to bring about this particular change. It helps an organization that in its transition phase. So next, after this particular change agent, the third role an organization does is the HR does is as an employee champion. Many a time HR is always seen as taking sides with the management. Whenever industrial relations problems arise, especially in that particular industrial relations era, in the age of industrialization, in from almost like 4 to 5 decades, from 1950s to 1990s, at least in India, this HR was always seen as taking sides with the management. And since it was seen as taking sides in the management, no, it was always treated with some kind of prejudice by the remaining people. It was their HR department is not treated as their own. They are always being prejudiced. Right now, that has slowly started transiting. Now, once we started having this particular services sector coming in, the whole thing has changed drastically. Right, today HR happens to be the employee champion. So here he has become an advocate, he has become a champion, fighting for the rights of the employees. So if an employee wants anything from the management, they want a new facility and everything, before meeting the management they go first convince the HR. They tell him, see, this is the genuine need that we have got and that's the reason we are demanding for it. They convince him, they take him on board, then they go meet the CEO and the chairman and then press for their particular needs. And the management, whenever they are being whenever they come across such situations, they immediately call the HR. They take his perception, they take the HR's decision, they take the HR's opinion also. So HR opinion matters, HR decision has weight. Right, so that's the reason they convince the HR first and then they later go and meet the management. So that's how today HR has become the employee champion, fighting for the rights, fighting for protecting and safeguarding the rights, and protecting the employee from being exploited. That's what a HR happens to do. And the last function that this particular HR does is the administrative expert. Alright, administrative job is a very tedious job. We deal with lot of files, we'll deal with lot of mail, and they'll have to deal with lot of paperwork. Right, maintaining this particular payroll of 4,000 employees is no joke. Looking after their attendance, looking after their leaves, looking after their salaries, looking after the performance appraisal, and looking after their promotions. Man, these things are not that easy. Alright, now once we get into that, it really becomes tedious in nature. Alright, so there again HR gives it its particular expertise. So as an administrative expertise, it is all about ensuring the maximum possible quality of delivered services. Right, so whenever you say if you want to go on a long leave, you have exhausted all your casual leaves, now you want to avail sick leave or you want to avail privilege leave, and you don't know how many leaves are there. Now whom do you contact? You immediately contact the HR, and when you contact the HR, you have the assurance that they are not bluffing. Right, why we don't think that they are not bluffing? Why do we trust them? We trust them because one of the role that is being played by the HR is the employee champion. A person who is championing, a person who is crusading for their rights, a person who is crusading for safeguarding their interest would never ditch them, would never betray them, isn't it? Okay, that's particular thing. And a lot of paperwork happens, into lot of communication between the different channels, from marketing to production communication channel, and from materials department to sales department communication across the organization, lateral communication, horizontal communication, and vertical communication. All these particular communications, time to time, periodically have to be reviewed, and the hurdles and whatever bottlenecks we have to got, they have to be removed. And these particular jobs are again done by the HR. And these functions, removing the bottlenecks in the existing communication channels, introducing new communication channels, ensuring that the communicational channels are consistent and communication moves smoothly, is also one of those functions that comes under administration. So there again he gives his administration expertise. So with that we end today's class on the roles of the HR. Right, so we shall again meet in the next class with a new topic from second unit 2. So till then, all of you have a pleasant time. See you again in the next class in unit 2. Thank you.